Good evening, teacher and classmates. My name is Kevin Malavata Crumias, and and today I'm going to talk about rules of agreement and government cases. And I live in Latacunga City, and I'm 27 years old. And this is my identification. In addition, uh, I'm going to tell you a story about EFL learning. All right, I'm going to tell you my story. When I was 25 years old, I did my internship in a private school called Unidad Educativa José Beltrán, located in the province of Bolívar. Unfortunately, in the educational institution, there was a girl who had a physical disability. Her name is Karen. She could not do most activities such as running, walking, playing because of her disability. Sometimes she saw how many of her classmates ignored her or bothered her. The group of students was spoiled, as they did not respect their parents or teachers. The bullying in the school was alarming. Therefore, I decided to talk to the director of the school in order for him to take action on the matter. After a while, neither the director nor the teachers solved the problem. So I decided to go to the education district of the sector to request a complaint about the education offered by the school. One day, when I was studying English, I received an email inviting me to a meeting with Karen and her parents. I informed them about what happened. We went to the meeting at the education district. We arrived at the place where there were also two authorities of the educational institution mentioned above. We discussed among all of them, and they came to the conclusion that the educational unit was not capable of dealing with cases of disability. So her mother or father had to make a decision about Karen's future as long as Karen's life was not violated. Finally, Karen's parents decided to change her to another school where the education is inclusive and of quality. On the other hand, the educational institution was financially sanctioned. After that terrible experience, I realized that when I graduate from university, I'm going to teach English in any school or college in Ecuador. Therefore, I have to prepare myself and work hard to become an empathetic teacher with all my students. That way, I will encourage fellowship, responsibility, and inclusion in the classroom. All right, right now I'm going to explain government cases and the rules of agreement. Let's get started. The yellow color represents generative case, or also known possessive cases. Possessives usually indicate a relationship or belonging, and they are used to indicate a possession. In the reading, we can find several examples of this subject, and the easiest way to recognize them is to identify if there is a possessive pronoun in the story. For example, we can find a lot of possessive pronouns in the story, such as my, her, their, her, and my. And this uh, indicate possession, and that is the only way to recognize them. All right, the green color represents a nominative case. This case refers to the fact that the pronoun of subject is the main part of a sentence. That is, the subject is the one of charging or in charge of performing the action. As we can see in the reading, we can find a lot of examples on the subject. And it is easy to recognize this type of case because the pronoun in a sentence is the one to performs the action. For example, in this story, we can find a lot of pronouns such as Karen, she, parents, teachers, they, she, we, I, Karen's parents. Uh, this word, I'm sorry, Karen, this word can be replaced by she. And Karen's parents can be replaced by they, and both mean the same. Okay, move on. The color gray represents a accusative case. The accusative case refers to the use of the object pronouns and within a sentence. And the main purpose of this is to receive the action. All right. In this case, we can find a lot of object pronouns such as her, me, them, and then him. All right. In this case, these are receiving the action. And that is the only way to recognize them and recognize this type of case, accusative case. And finally, we can find a lot of rules of agreement. For example, and we have to use you have to use them in order to connect to sentence, or in this case, in order to connect to pronouns. Or in this case, excuse me, I'm sorry. In this case, is the same because in order to connect to sentence or to subject, we have to put on or excuse me. And the group of students was spoiled. In this case, we have to check the subject before the prepositional please phrase headed by of. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention, for your time. See you next time. Bye bye.